This is called the Father's Day interview.
It's like, what's going on?
Welcome to the Father's Day interview. Amen. Praise the Lord. It's so good to sit here with this family today. This is one of our pastors, Pastor Chuks, he and his wife, Pastor Vanessa, and 1 3/4 children. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. It is so good to have you. Welcome to this very important interview on this Father's Day. You have a microphone? Okay, I'm going to give you this. I think I'm going to use mine.
Okay.
Praise the Lord.
That sound.
You got yours, and I got mine, so I'm going to give this to Pastor Vanessa. Just in case we need to ask you something. Thank you so much. Amen. Put your hands together, Father. Pastor Chuks.
Yes, sir.
No, that's not your name, right? We just call you Pastor Chuks.
Child of God is okay.
Child of God. Amen. Pastor Chuks, I see that you have a child there and you have one on this way. So how many years have you really been fathering?
So I became a father May 21st, 2017. So 2 years and some change. This is my third Father's Day.
All right, wonderful. Can you tell us here, let's say, what do you enjoy the most about being a young father?
Wow. Many things, actually. At first, I mean, it's awesome kind of, looking at him, the way he behaves, seeing some of the characteristics in him that were in me as a child and might still be in me as an adult now. And so that's cool, to see that. Whenever I come home and I put the key in the lock in the door, I can hear his footsteps running to come see Daddy. And so he'll run up to me, hold my leg, and just grab me. So that's very heartwarming. We pray together, so we're teaching him how to pray. So if I say, he's shy right now, there's so many people looking at him, but if you say in Jesus' name, he'll say amen. And so before he goes to bed, we try to read to him, and I really, sorry, I can't raise him. Hello? Yeah, and so I enjoy praying with him as well.
Good. Yeah. How do you feel, Pastor Chuks, when Sister Vanessa, Pastor Vanessa said to you, I think I'm going to be a mother soon?
How do I feel?
Yeah, how did you feel when she gave you that $1 million news?
So I look at my wallet first. Of course I'm happy, children are a blessing from God, and her going through these pregnancies has made me value her and appreciate her even more than I even originally did, just seeing what she's going through and how she literally sacrificing her body as a vessel to bring forth a child. So I'm excited, and also I know that I have to double down in supporting her and making sure, she feels the love and supported through it all. So, yeah.
Now, Pastor Chuks, between your parents, who had the strongest influence on you?
Negative or positive?
Your choice.
So negative, and again, I speak with my dad. My dad wasn't really in my life much. He actually left us about 12 times. My mom kept taking him back. And I speak about him, but I've forgiven him, but he's still, the memories come up from time to time. So I'd say negative, my dad, positive, my mom.
Do you have any animosity in there against your dad?
It's an everyday struggle to forgive him over and over again. And, there were some things that I'm learning the hard way as a man now that he could have made a lot easier for me. I try to really push away those feelings of animosity, because at the end of the day, it's only like acid to my spirit, And so if I can just kind of let it go, leave it to God, and just trust that God will keep working on him, I think that's the best thing I can do.
Give it up for him. Amen. Pastor Chuks, do you long for a relationship with your dad? I mean, the relationship with your father?
I do. I think all guys do. You know, and when we say, oh, we don't care, we're lying. You know, we all wish we had our dad around. I remember being in school, guys talking about they went fishing with their father or they went to a sporting event, and I couldn't relate to them, you know, and that would make me actually very bitter when I hear those things.
And Pastor Chuks, so now that you are raising your children, amen,
Amen.
Who has taught you what to do? Because seeing that you just mentioned that some of the influences that were negative regarding relationship between you and your dad, how have you learned, or what have you learned to make a difference between your relationship with your children? And who taught you?
Yeah, I think ironically my dad taught me, because by seeing all the things he did, I said I'm going to do the opposite of everything he did. I'm going to do the opposite in my household, and the opposite, I thank God, is aligned with the Word. In my house, you know, we're trying to cultivate a culture that's built on the Bible. And growing up, I can speak for her as well, because we both come from Nigerian households where Nigerian culture runs the house. And yeah, and as beautiful as our culture is, there are aspects of it that just not godly, you know, and just not sound doctrine. For example, you know, men in our culture, especially traditional men in that generation, they're permitted to do almost anything without being held accountable. And so, you know, if a man talks down to his emotionally abusive to his wife or physically, it's like, well, thank God you have a husband, right? If he's abusive to the children, it's like, well, I'm your father, what I say goes. And, you know, everyone kind of bows down to him as a king. But the type of atmosphere I want in my household is where my wife and I have a partnership. So I'm not there to dominate her or to oppress her. I don't gain from that, you know, but I consult her when I have a tough decision to make. One thing also is I try to read her and understand, okay, if she's tired, here's where you can step in and help, you know, be of support to her.
Now, Pastor Chuks, in your home, growing up as a child, did your father demonstrate the priestly role I mean, you got a Christian home? Give us a sense of the home that you grew up in.
Yeah, Christian on paper. Yeah, so yes, my mom tried. So my dad didn't, but my mom tried to pick up the slack and bring us to church, call for the family to pray. But every time she called for prayer, my dad, he hated that. You know, he would actually be really upset that, you know, interrupted his time watching TV or doing whatever he's doing to pray. He didn't like that. So no, he didn't really play that priestly role.
So the priestly role was done by helpmeet.
Yes. She tried her best.
Come on, somebody say something.
Amen.
It's something that we've been trying to shift the culture of within the church, that so many men have left the responsibility of taking care of this very, very important piece of raising the family to the sisters whom God has called to be the helpmeet. Our wives are called to help us do what God called us to do. But I guess that Papa Chuks decided, I want to do that. I want to just go and work. And so he was more the provider. Right?
No, sir.
So he was not the provider. He was not the priest.
No.
Was he the protector?
No, sir.
So if God gave us as husbands and fathers the four full responsibilities, which are priest, prophet, provider, and protector, and Papa Chuks was not doing any, what happened to the family? Hey, I'm sharing with you, brothers and sisters, so that you can get to see how many of our families, like I described a few weeks ago, are naked. And the word naked, I mentioned to you, means uncovered, unprotected. And therefore, thank God that Chuks grew up believing God, that God became his father to give him what he needed to raise his children, so that he can make a difference, or like I mentioned earlier, breaking that generational curse. He said earlier that there are some things that he saw in his family, that in his father, that he knew he did not want. But Pastor, did you knew what you wanted to do?
At a certain point, so actually, it's interesting. Actually, when I was 15, I'll never forget it. I was in my room and I was listening to my parents fight again. It was a nightly thing. And I remember actually just praying to God a very specific prayer. And I said, God, I just don't want to be like my dad. And so I don't know what you're going to do in my life, how you want to use me. But I don't want to be like my dad. I want to be hardworking. I want to, I because he wasn't working most of the time, so he was just kind of hoarding off of loafing around and just using my mom. My mom was his ATM, machine, and upon that, he was going out cheating on her all the time. He was physically abusive, emotionally abusive. So I saw that, and there were times that I wanted to fight him to defend my mom, but I was at that time too small. I'm a lot bigger now. And when I got older, we did get into physical, I'm not proud to say it, but we did get into physical altercations. But I remember that specific prayer, and I look at my life now, how busy I am, how God is like, okay, you wanted that, I'm putting it all on you, and I thank God for it, because I did ask for it when I was young. Amen.
There are some of us who are still learning what it means to be a father. I mean, like me, I am still learning what it means to be a father. Can you give us a piece of advice as for those of us who have or had broken relationships with our fathers? And what do you think we should do? Is there any hope for fathers who have relationships that are fractured? I mean, is there any advice that you can give to fathers or to young men who are growing up to be fathers?
Yeah, forgiveness is key. Don't think that you're doing it for him, but you're doing it for yourself, really. It's kind of a selfish thing to say, but really that's what it is. I remember the day when I called my father on his birthday, it was several years ago. Actually, it was after I spoke to you, and you gave me some sound counseling, so God bless you for that, and it was hard. I didn't, the worldly me didn't want to do it. I wanted to stay angry at him and hate him. But I called him on his birthday. I said, hey, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I want to give you the best gift, and that's forgiveness, And I said, I don't want you to say anything. This doesn't have to be a dialogue. I just want to forgive you for all the pain you put in my life. So let go of that pain. It doesn't mean everything's going to be sweet and rosy afterwards. My dad and I, unfortunately, still don't talk like that, but at least I don't carry hatred for him. Actually, it's love now, and it's pity, because he didn't have a good network around him to teach him how to do things, Also, men, I think my dad, a mistake he made was that he thought that his children, he can get our love by not loving my mom. And so one thing you have to understand is that our children are watching how we treat our women.
Can you say that again, please?
Our children are watching how we treat our women. And so I see how happy it is. It makes my son, when I give his mom a kiss every morning, he starts smiling, And so I want to do it again and again, so he's happy.
Like keep on kissing, man.
Keep kissing. That's where the babies keep coming from. So that's one thing. Don't neglect your wife. She's there in your life for a reason. Don't treat her as a doormat. Prayer is big. How can you lead a home effectively if you're not spirit led? And so that's one thing I do when I pray. I ask God, and again, we men always feel like we have all the answers. You know, that we're like, we know it all. We really don't have all the answers. We might look tough in front of our women because we have to be strong. But when I'm with God, I'm vulnerable. I'm like, Lord, I don't really know what to do here. We're short on this money. What do I do here for Josiah or for my wife? And then he'll give me the answer in the most unusual way sometimes. But he'll give me something to so pray. Make sure you have a relationship with God, you know. And there are times when I want to pray. This guy's making so much noise. She's watching her YouTube videos or whatever. And so I actually just get away and go in the room, spend time with God. So, but then there are also times you have to pray with your family. That's very important. We pray all the time. We incorporate him as well, whether he likes it or not. You gotta pray with us. So.
Amen. Pastor Chuks, is your grandfather alive from father's side?
No, both of my grandfathers are dead.
So did you know him?
I knew my paternal grandfather, yeah.
Right. Okay. But do you know what kind of relationship that they had?
It was terrible. Man. So actually, yeah, it was bad.
So can you see something that passed on? So the curse has been broken.
Amen.
Thank you. Put your hands together for them, please. I always leave, but I just want to share with you. The prophet Malachi said something in Malachi chapter 4, and I'm going to dismiss you guys in a second. In Malachi chapter 4, the last book of the Bible, it's the last few verses when the Lord spoke through him. And he says, see, as a matter of fact, verse 4 says, remember the law of my servant Moses, the decrees and laws I gave him at Horeb for all Israel. Verse 5, see, or one version says, behold, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before that great and dreadful day of the Lord comes. He will turn the hearts of the parents to their children. I love another version that says the heart of the fathers back to their children, and the hearts of the children back to their fathers. Or else I'll come and strike the land with total destruction. What I've seen, and not only as a pastor, but I've been a father in this city for over 3 decades. And walking with my wife and me as we had our children and seeing them grow and watching our grandchildren now and be heavily involved in our children and grandchildren lives, and never thought that the whole parenting thing would have spiraled again to my wife and me, that we moved from parent to grandparent to parent again. And now we are parenting our grandchildren. And I'm watching my little grandson, the one that you perhaps saw on the video. And yesterday, as we sat there in prayer with the men, it was Pastor Terrence, myself, and my other brother, and we sat there with Deacon Annie's grandson and my grandson. I'm just sitting there with them praying. But when Dana began to pray for Nana, I think he calls you Nana, when he began, or grandma, I think. When he began to pray for her, he was speaking so soft that I could not hear him. So what I did, I pulled my chair forward and I leaned over to hear him better what he's saying. And when I did that, I opened my eyes, and what I observed is that my grandson, he pulled his chair over and he leaned over the same way. And I thought, what on earth? He imitates me. And children imitates us, and they are looking for their dads, boys and girls. And I believe that, the reason why our society is so broken down is simply because of the fact that many fathers are missing. They may be in the house, but they are missing when it comes to giving to our children what our children need. Of course, I didn't have that as a boy. The stuff that I saw, I knew definitely what I wasn't going to do as a child, because what I saw as a young man coming up, I told myself, I do not want to be like that. And therefore, but I did not know what I wanted. So of course, I stayed away from anything that looks like that. And of course, I ended up breaking that pattern. And so my son, what you saw today, he's never seen what I saw, because I broke that curse.
Amen.
And every one of you that knows Jesus Christ as your Lord, the Lord has given to you keys to break those curses. So I want to pray for you today, and I know there's been much prayers going on today, but will you stand with me, please? And if you have your family with you, I'm asking you to gather them to you. Just come with your family. It's you and your wife and children. Just be with them at this time. Thank you, Jesus.